The only certainty Ray Garrett has is that he is going to die. And if he is lucky, he will survive long enough to choose how he spends his last moments. The message flashes across the screen, short and official, congratulating him for securing his place in the long walk. It is a message that feels both surreal and final, as though it were typed by fate itself and sent directly to his life. Ray sits quietly in the back of his mother's car, gripping the strap of his bag until his knuckles ache. The radio murmurs news of the war that divided the United States into two nations, a fractured land left under the grip of a strict dictatorship that tolerates neither dissent nor weakness. His mother's face is pale and drawn, a map of anxiety and sorrow. She shuts off the radio abruptly, as though silencing the reminders of the world beyond could shield her from despair. She implores him to quit, to find a way to escape this cruel competition while he still can, to survive with his life intact. Ray does not argue.
Я знаю, майор, он...
Что, майор? Ты знаешь, что майор скажет?
He knows that words cannot alter the path he is forced to walk, a path carved by the invisible hand of authority and circumstance.
Дай я обниму. Ладно.
Я тебя люблю сильней.
Нет, не сильней. Это факт.
At the starting point, the air is sharp, tense, and electric, charged with the collective anxiety of 50 young men and women. Soldiers patrol the line with rigid precision, their eyes scanning backpacks, belts, and shoes, ensuring that no one carries even the smallest advantage. The walkers assemble like pieces on a board, each carrying more than their own body weight, each step a testament to fear, resolve, and silent defiance. Pete greets Ray with a small nod, a brief flicker of camaraderie in an otherwise cold and calculated environment. Around them, personalities emerge in quiet but distinct ways.
Сколько весишь?
81.
А я 80.
Baker is calm and friendly, here to walk and make connections despite the grim circumstances. Curly, one of the youngest, trembles with fear, unable to conceal the panic that threatens to overwhelm him.
Чувак, ты чего там?
Я разогреваюсь.
У тебя будет сотни километров на разогрев. Как тебя зовут?
Hank, obsessive and determined, believes that toughness and aggression will carry him through, that the appearance of strength can shield him from failure. Barkovich is withdrawn and unsettling, a shadow among shadows, making those near him uneasy without a word spoken. These are but a few of the 50 walkers who are about to embark on a path where survival is uncertain and mortality looms with every step.
Он говорит, если хочешь выиграть, нужно быть готовым всех порвать.
В бой, готов всех порвать.
The commander arrives, a figure of towering authority whose presence commands silence and respect. Names are called, and the walkers step forward to receive identification cards.
Сядьте, парни. Карли, Адам. Номер 7.
Ray is number 47, a number that will become as much a part of him as the rhythm of his own heartbeat. The commander explains the origins of the long walk, framing it as a brutal tradition born from a national crisis, an institution designed to enforce discipline and purge weakness. Laziness is condemned, and endurance is celebrated. The rules are simple yet merciless. Keep walking without pause, maintain a speed above 5 kilometers per hour, and accept the inevitability of warnings. 3 warnings and death follows instantly. The last walker standing receives wealth beyond imagination and a single wish to be granted without question. The gunshot that signals the start echoes across the asphalt, a sharp punctuation mark to their fate. The march begins, flanked by soldiers whose sole task is to enforce the unyielding laws of the walk. The first kilometers stretch beneath a merciless sun, the air heavy with the scent of dust and asphalt. The roadside is littered with remnants of decay. Dead animals, abandoned cars, and skeletal remains of a world once alive. The absence of spectators amplifies the sense of isolation. The commander permits no audience until the finish line, leaving the walkers to confront their own fears and endurance without distraction. Hank offers grim advice, telling the others to smile for the cameras, each step a broadcast of human endurance and suffering. The first warnings arrive swiftly. Stebbins slows, testing himself, earning the mark of caution. Barkovich falters, nearly meeting death before regaining pace. Each step is deliberate, each second critical, and the walkers are acutely aware of the fine line between life and death. By the 8th kilometer, they cross a vast wheat field, golden and still, a fleeting moment of fragile beauty amidst the harshness. Stebbins earns his first warning, Barkovich pushes to regain lost ground, and the walkers instinctively adjust, muscles and minds straining beyond ordinary limits. Ray walks with Pete and Baker, their conversation drifting from the prize to survival to the faint hope of life beyond the walk. Baker desires wealth, money enough to escape the world that has trapped them. Pete hopes for survival but dreams in quiet moments of a life after the walk. Ray, in contrast, reflects not on gold or wealth, but on survival itself, on a purpose deeper than material gain. None of them volunteered willingly. Each was pushed into this crucible by circumstance, carrying fear and defiance alike in their hearts.
О чем?
Никто на это не подписывается, по сути.
Curly cramps midway through the morning. Ray steps back, urging him forward, lending what support he can, but the boy's body cannot endure. In seconds, Curly racks up 3 warnings, and a soldier steps forward without hesitation, executing him on the spot. His last words, desperate and unfair, hanging in the air, a cruel punctuation to the reality of the long walk. The walkers falter instinctively, the brutal lesson seared into their consciousness. The commander delivers ceremonial words over Curly's death, hollow phrases that offer no comfort. Ray asks a soldier for water and continues, each sip a small reprieve in the unrelenting march.
Один из наших товарищей пал. Вспомним его с теплотой.
By the 27th kilometer, exhaustion deepens, muscles scream, and bones ache with every step. Conversations between Ray, Pete, and Baker fluctuate between humor, reflection, and strategy, a fragile defense against the oppressive trial. Harkness, obsessive and meticulous, records everything, the names, numbers, and actions of each walker, envisioning a book that might immortalize survival in narrative form. Hank cuts in with his own twisted advice. He tells them to smile for the camera that's broadcasting every step of the march. By the time they hit the 8-kilometer mark, they cross a vast wheat field. Ray recognizes it instantly. It's the finest in the country, proof that he's the rep from that state. But in the middle of his quiet reflection, Stebbins starts slowing down until he gets slapped with his very first warning. Hank sees it as a possible strategy, slowing down early on just to test how much the body can really take. Baker disagrees, saying it's a dumb risk for Hank. The only real strategy is to go all in from the start. Ray, curious, tries to strike up a conversation with Stebbins, but Stebbins shuts him down with cold disdain, making it clear he isn't looking for company. Crossing a bridge, Barkovich pauses for a moment to tie his laces. The speed monitor catches it, and he gets his first warning. 10 seconds tick by, then comes a second. The others keep walking, eyes locked on him, waiting to see what happens. Just as he's about to hit that third and final warning, a soldier already raises his rifle. But Barkovich finishes in the nick of time, pulling his shoes tight and jumping back into pace, drawing a collective sigh of relief from the others. Now fully aware of how close he came, he speeds up. He knows he can't afford another slip if he wants to stay alive. Rank lashes out at Barkovich in anger, only to be executed instantly, a stark reminder that aggression carries a deadly cost. Every loss reshapes the walker's awareness. Survival demands vigilance, endurance, and ruthlessness. Night falls with heavy rain, drumming on the road and the backs of the walkers. They cling to brief moments of solidarity, small comforts amid endless suffering. Ray leans on Pete to catch a few minutes of rest while the rain pounds the asphalt, the rhythm of feet a lullaby for the weary. Thoughts drift to home, to his mother, to the father lost for defiance, executed publicly for teaching a forbidden knowledge. Memory and rage intertwine, fueling each step. Pete shares his own story of loss, of surviving a childhood filled with tragedy, and of scars earned through endurance, teaching by example that resilience can be cultivated even in suffering. Ray's father taught him knowledge that the government called forbidden. One night, soldiers busted into their house, arrested him, and handed him over to the commander. The commander, after scolding him for spreading subversive ideas, gave him a choice: swear absolute loyalty to the state or die. Ray's father stood by his convictions, refused, and was executed in front of the whole family.
Да помилует вас.
Не забывай, кто ты, Рэй.
On the third day, 231 kilometers behind them, Baker steps aside briefly, revealing the fragility of the human body. The smell of sweat, fatigue, and human vulnerability reminds them that the body can betray the mind. Ray confides in Pete the truth of his father, executed for teaching forbidden knowledge, refusing the commander's command, a man of conviction whose death ignites vengeance and determination in Ray. Alone, Ray tells Pete the real reason he needs to win.
Ты прав, ненормально. И поэтому я убью его.
From that moment on, Ray knew his fate was sealed. He had to win, avenge his father, and show the commander he'd never be forgotten. His voice was full of hatred. He admits he hates the man with every fiber of his being, and says that if he wins, he'll ask for a rifle to kill him. Pete tries to reason with him. He tells Ray that taking a man's life isn't as simple as he thinks, but Ray stays unmoved. In the end, Pete warns him that a wish built only on revenge is meaningless, because revenge is never enough. Pete warns him that revenge is never enough, yet Ray remains unmoved. Hatred a constant companion as he walks onward.
Предупреждение. Четвертый.
Madness spreads among the remaining walkers. Soldiers act without hesitation, cutting down those who falter. Hank collapses, his body succumbing to chaos. Harkness twists his ankle and is executed instantly. Stebbins grows gravely ill, halting with quiet resignation, accepting his fate. Each kilometer becomes a testament to human fragility and perseverance, the line between life and death increasingly blurred.
Я хочу домой. Господи, я хочу домой. Черт. Хочу домой. Черт. Хочу домой.
Out of the 53 who started, only 6 remain. Ray, Pete, Barkovich, Stebbins, Baker, and Parker. Parker then reveals that Hank was married. He was the only walker with a wife. The group makes a promise. Whoever wins will share part of the prize with Hank's widow. That night, Parker starts to sing to distract himself, and slowly the others join in, grasping at a moment of humanity to ease the crushing tension. By dawn, after 447 kilometers, Parker asks Ray if they're close to where his mother lives. Ray answers yes, and Parker tells him that just for that, he's lucky. Pete, however, cuts in, saying that for Ray, it'll only make things more painful. As they enter a city, Ray's shoes fall apart. The soles rip off, forcing him to keep going barefoot. Dawn on the 5th day brings 447 kilometers behind them. Parker wonders aloud if they are near Ray's mother. Ray glimpses her through the rain-soaked crowd, a tearful beacon in the chaos. Soldiers restrain him from reaching her. Her presence ignites grief and rage that fuel his steps. Shoes wear thin, rain pounds down, muscles scream, but the march continues. Conversations, laughter, and memories cling to them like fragile shields against despair. The 5th day tests them to the brink. Stebbins falls gravely ill and tells the others not to help each other, saying it would only stretch out the suffering. At that moment, Baker's nose begins to bleed. No one dares to reach out, respecting the new unspoken rule. Overcome with rage, Parker snaps. He fires at a soldier and then takes his own life, collapsing tragically in front of them all. That night, after reaching 521 kilometers, Baker's condition worsens beyond saving. Breaking the rule, Ray and Pete try to hold him up, but Baker can't go on. With a broken voice, he begs them to let him go. He hands them a small cross, asking that they give it to his grandmother.
Я иду домой.
Пройдем еще домой. Еще
Я иду
немного.
домой. Я иду домой.
Then, with one last act of courage, he steps away and turns back. The soldiers move instantly. They execute him, granting him at last some rest, leaving Ray and Pete to traverse the remaining distance alone. The finish line nears, 524 kilometers behind them. The commander appears, ensuring only one walker survives. Ray, exhausted and furious, hurls insults. The commander praises his killer instinct. Pete raises a question, asking what will happen if they all finish the race simultaneously.
Вот это настрой, мой мальчик! Напряги свои яйца и вперед за наградой!
Ray asks Stebbins how he knows so much about the walk. With a fading voice, Stebbins finally reveals the truth. The commander is his father, and he joined the competition, hoping his wish would be to be recognized by him. Gravely ill and knowing he can't hold out any longer, Stebbins comes to a stop. With quiet resignation, he accepts death, and the soldiers execute him. Now only 2 remain, Ray and Pete. Rain pours, fatigue presses, and the crowd grows as the village nears. Pete sits, ready to surrender. Ray urges him on, unaware his own pace has slowed.
Поможет брату. Давай. Пройди со мной еще немного.
Ray, desperate, urges him to keep going without noticing that he himself has already begun to slow his pace. Then the commander steps in and without hesitation executes Ray on the spot, declaring Pete the winner of the walk. Soldiers act instantly. Ray is executed, leaving Pete the sole survivor.
Я не вижу свет, а ты видишь.
Рэй, отвалите нахрен! Рэй!
The commander asks Pete for his wish. Pete, steady and firm, replies that he wants a carbine, claiming he'll pass it down to his future children.
Он никого не убьет, парни. Он выиграл слишком много, и помните.
The commander, pleased, agrees, but the very moment the weapon lands in Pete's hands, he turns it on his executioner. The commander tries to talk him down, but Pete locks eyes with him and declares vengeance for Ray. Then he pulls the trigger. With the commander's body down, Pete turns away and walks alone down the empty road, fading into the horizon.
Это за Рэя.